Chapter 17. That thing that Henry went Oberdeen to do something, it's coming. So Henry, he goes to this fancy restaurant and he invites, of course, Betty. When Betty, she's like driving and she looks at the map and she's like, it's really close by. Like, is this the right address? And he's like, yeah, that's the right address. Just come. Whatever, I'll wait for you. Just come. A sign appeared in the distance. It stood half sunken on rusty steel posts, almost illegible from so much dust and sun. Betty could make out what looked like a fishing boat and in faded letters, harbor. Betty goes into this harbor and she's like, Henry, I'm trying to find you. I'm trying to find this restaurant, but I can't seem to find it. Like, what's going on? And she, she has this like this weird like feeling. It's like, okay, this is kind of weird. It's really strange. But then there's another part of her where she's like, okay, no, I'm sure it's fine. I trust Henry. I trust Henry a lot. So he's not gonna like do anything bad to me. Wrong. At the very end, before Betty asks Henry, like, for the last time, like, where are you? Like, I'm trying to find you, and that's it. Done. Chapter 18. So we start chapter 18 with Officer Jensen's point of view. He's saying we have another case, and this time it's another disappearance of another woman, and her name is Bettina Hansen. Betty. So everyone in the office is like crying. They're so worried, nervous. They're like, what the hell? Like, where is Betty? Like, has she been kidnapped? Is she okay? I hope she's not dead. Chapter 19 now. We have the chief investigator, Honor Blum. And he's supposed to be the genius, I guess. That's what he's supposed to be in this novel. And they're trying to figure out like what happened to Betty Hansen. They're seeing like all these regular phone calls to this unknown person, and that unknown person is, of course, Henry. And Officer Jensen is like telling Blum like, hey, I think we know him. I think it's Henry. It has to be Henry because he killed his wife and now he killed his lover. But Blum, he's like, no, that's not him. No, it can't be. Next scene. So, Gisbert Foch. He is being let go now. He's being released by the hospital because he's gotten well. And he found out that sadly, his apartment has been burned and he may be homeless, but also he might be going to jail soon because he kind of caused the fire. Caused when it's actually Henry, but no one knows that. But before Foch was released from the hospital, Officer Jensen came back and started interrogating him. It didn't seem like Foch really liked cops, so he wasn't being very cooperative, which is good for Henry. So chapter 20, no sooner than later, he found another woman, Sonja, and yeah, he's really liking to her too. Gisbert Foch calls Henry and admits everything, that he's been following him, he was jealous of him, and so I guess in a way they sort of had an amicable friendship at the start of it, sort of. Even though I don't think Henry still I don't think he really remembers Gisbert still too much, but yeah, there you go. Chapter 21. So this is where the big finale of the manuscript comes in. Honor Esendrot, she calls Henry and tells him, hey, we found the final piece of the manuscript. Chapter 22 is basically like the start of finishing this novel now. He's trying to get a fresh start now. And then Claus Morany died. He passed away all of a sudden, and unfortunately. Interestingly though, before he died, he actually married his secretary, Honor Esendrot. which means that she gets the publishing house, his houses, his other houses, his money, fortune, whatever. You know, that's how it works, right? Here is Henry 2 days before Claus's funeral, and Honor was telling Henry like, hey, you know, I'm really happy that I found this manuscript, but there was something interesting that you need to know about. And it was a note, and that note was in Martha's handwriting, and it said this: Dear Henry, my darling husband, I'm saving you and saving this ending because I could never bear to leave you without anything. I don't know what has happened or what is going to happen today, but the bright colors which shone out of you from the day we first met are now granite black. I'm frightened for you. I shall make sure it gets to you. I shall keep it for you and send it to Morini. With fondest love, Martha. In totality, I think Honor, the secretary, she knew the rendezvous between Henry and Betty, but this is like on top of it all. She can kind of piece it together like, oh, actually Henry is not the writer, it was Martha. Martha was the writer for all of the novels. I think she knew, but she felt so horrible and disturbed. She just didn't want to tell the police of what she knew. After the funeral, Officer Jameson tells Henry that they have found his wife, but they need to interrogate him. So this is where the seriousness comes in. But the problem is, again, Henry he's able to slip out and just present that he is innocent from all this commotion, chaos. That's basically what he says too in the first line. They had nothing. Like he's so cocky. Chapter 24 is the last chapter of this book. Martha's remains were cremated and funeral was taking place. Henry and Officer Jensen, they go to Henry's property that he was staying at before he became an orphan. Officer Jensen, he is the character opening up Henry Hayden's past. And I don't know, like this ending, it's not my favorite. I think this particular chapter could have been introduced earlier, maybe? Yeah, I just don't really like it. I mean, Henry just gives a tour for Officer Jensen, his previous lifestyle, previous living when he was a kid. Like, why does this has to be the ending? I mean, I get it, but I just didn't really like it too much. What I did like though, the next scene here, and I'm just gonna read it for you. Henry Hayden disappeared without a trace before the novel was published. Blah, blah, blah. A year after Hayden's disappearance, Oberdine Bazrik received a postcard from a stranger on which was written in exquisite handwriting in brown ink. Better always alone than never. The end. I loved it, but I didn't really like it too much, and especially the main character. You have this love and hate relationship for this guy. The title says it all. There are some truth and a lot of lies going around in this novel. What I do love about this novel is that it's not like any other thriller books. It's not heavy. It could be simple as well. And I think that's what I like about this book. It's very simple, pleasing to read. So it was fun. It was fun reading this. The only few things I didn't really like about this one is, number one is the transitions. Sometimes I feel like the transitions of the book, it gets a little bit confusing. If you guys read it, I think you guys will understand what I'm saying. But there were many times where I actually had to reread again and see like, okay, so what is going with this scene? And like within this chapter, like what is going with this scene and then like that scene? Because they're two different things. Like there's two different things that's happening in one time. So that's one of the things I didn't like. And then the second thing is the ending, which I told you guys about. I feel like it was rushed. It was a piece that needed to be said, but it could have been said in a different, probably a different time. That's what I'm just guessing, and I'm just expressing my opinion about it. But other than that, I did love it. I hope you guys will love it as well. If you have any questions or you guys want to discuss about something, please leave your comments down below, and I will see you next time. Oh, and don't forget, I always forget this. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, please.